everybody. Welcome to the Coffee and Carving Show. Today, episode number 71, I'm joined by my brother, Kenny.
Kenny.
What's up, Kenny?
Hey, what's up, man? How are you, Alec?
I'm pretty good. Thanks for being willing to come on over your lunch break at work.
it's okay. Yeah, I was kind of wanting to get out of the shop anyways. It was a little bit hectic in there, so it's kind of a nice little break.
Tell the audience what you do for a job, like, and maybe I don't know how you got into it. Speaking of wood carving.
Yeah, speaking of wood carving. Well, hey, I drink twice as much coffee to make up for it, so I'm half. It's work still, but yeah.
Oh yeah, because this is a coffee and carving show,
yeah,
so it's
exactly.
half relevant.
Just
yeah, I got some coffee too here.
For me, it's the coffee and coffee show, but
yeah.
No, I fix cars. I work on European cars. Just like our, I was gonna say my dad, or just like our dad, did.
Yeah.
And
right.
it wasn't really my plan initially to fix cars, but and dad actually was early on. It seemed like he would rather me have not done that and just done some nice obviously nice job that would have been a little bit less labor intensive and harder,
right,
hard on your body, but
right.
But yeah, so I fix cars. I do the same thing he does at a shop really close to where he worked. I worked with him for 10 years. Me and him worked at a little shop, and that's where I learned.
Can you give us the address of the shop?
Yeah. Kidding. Oh, thanks. Yeah.
And your current and the address of your current shop.
We were. You got to fill them in. They probably won't understand the humor.
Oh yeah, true.
We were just joking about. I have a YouTube channel too, where I try to stay more kind of anonymous. Kind of as far as I don't really want to get into who I am or where I work, because I'm not really doing it to drum up business. I'm doing it more just to kind of show some simple, how to fix this and that and things that people can do at their house mostly, but a lot of stuff, also kind of more specialty things and how things work and stuff like that. And I don't really even show my face very much, and it's more so just kind of staying anonymous. So
right.
Plus,
so it's a secret channel.
Yeah, it's a secret channel.
You'll never find it. I'm not telling anyone about it because that's the way it's going to be.
No, it's top secret, and you.
Kenny's doing really well with his top secret.
Yeah. It's like the worst
no one knows about it
ever. Alex, like, here's
no one's heard about
it. Introduce you to a sector of people that might be interested. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
Please, viewers, I don't. Find me on your own.
Well,
when you're looking how to change a light bulb on a Audi or something.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure I just said, "Hey, do you want to be on the podcast?"
Yeah, that was it. yeah. Yeah, that's actually more like it. You're right.
But no, I mean, whatever. I mean, we're just here to hang out. And,
exactly.
It doesn't have to be anything fancy.
Yeah, one of the reasons why I even thought it'd be fun to start a YouTube channel was, my buddy also is into YouTube, and Alec was well before me. He had all kinds of stuff going on, but one of the reasons I did it was just to kind of do something really out of character that Alec kind of wouldn't that you kind of wouldn't believe,
Yeah.
The day I told you, like, oh yeah, start a YouTube channel, you're like, no, you didn't. That's not something you would do.
So let's get into that for a second.
Yeah.
That phone call was it was your friend Eric and I.
Yeah.
And you were telling me about Eric's channel. I was trying to grow mine.
Yeah.
And to just make better stuff, and you said you should call him and just talk to him about it, because he is like obsessed. All he does is YouTube.
Yeah, he's into it. Yeah.
So I called him and we were talking, and he's like, "Man, yeah, I've been trying to get Kenny into working or to doing YouTube, and he'd be like the perfect candidate for it." And I was like, "Dude, same here." I was thinking about, he has like the perfect format. He has queued up a new project every day, multiple new projects. It would be really helpful for people. It wouldn't have to be like super labor intensive or highly edited.
Yeah.
And we just nerded out for 10 minutes about how it would be amazing if you had a YouTube channel. And we called, we team called you. I said, "Wait, let's put him on the phone."
Well, it's funny because it's not really, I mean, I don't really like, I don't do public speaking and stuff like that. Well, so this is not something that I even really sounded appealing. Didn't sound appealing to me at all, honestly. When I started doing it, I was getting a little bit more joy out of it than I was expecting, to tell you the truth. Like, you know, getting some positive feedback, even for something so simple. You're just like somebody saying like, "Thanks so much. I've been fighting this, and that was exactly what I needed." It's really, it's really nice. It's really nice to get some positive, you know, to actually help someone out with something. And not saying that it's 100% of a selfless, you know, thing, but of course you know, I like the other aspects of it. But yeah, it's cool. I like it a lot more than I thought I would. I thought maybe it would be a quick trend I would drop quickly, but it seems to be sticking. So
Yeah, and then just to be clear, I want everyone to know that on our personal channels, that Kenny has more views now. He surpassed me in views, and at this point, it's what is it today? It's it's something April 25th, 2023. He's currently has more views than I have, and he started way sooner, way more recently than I did.
yeah, but
So
it's
he's
not.
killing it.
It's a different segment, you know.
It's a different world for
Yeah,
sure, but
yeah.
it shows your commitment to doing
A
it.
lot more people have cars than that are into woodwork, you know, and carving and arts and stuff like that. As far as, you know, people need to get around. It's not. It's more of a necessity. It's not something where it's as much like something that's interesting. And then also, you know, it's, you know,
You're posting a lot too.
yeah, it's just a different thing. I'm cheating compared to what you're what you're doing here. So
No, not at
to some
all.
degree, I
No,
mean, I'm
and
just, yeah, I'm just saying.
also this is to me a huge part of it is that you're just your commitment and your ability to just stick to doing the one video every day,
Yeah,
quality stuff, right to the point, no fluff. My dad, I did the same thing you did. Dad and I talked about this recently. How, like, you know, he was saying, I love that his videos. There's no fancy intros, outros, music, nonsense. It's just right into it. You
yeah.
know, it's helpful, and then you get out of it, and then that's it.
It's funny. I act like, you know, I like to take credit for that. Like, oh yeah, that was all part of my plan to not have a nice intro and no outro and stuff like that. But it's really just, you know, I'm at work, so I'm just trying to put something
Right,
up very
right,
quick. I don't edit, you
right.
know. I just kind of put something up quick. It's helpful,
Yep,
you know. So it's not
it's
really,
great.
but it does. It ends up people like that because, you know, when you're trying to figure something out, it's not like leisurely trying to watch a video. Let's say I'm watching one of your videos. It has entertainment value. I'm doing it on my own time usually, and it's more of a leisurely thing, and I'm trying to learn an art or something like that. It's not really something that's overly, that's just you know, frustrating. If I'm trying to figure out, you know, what just broke on my car, you know, and
Right.
I'm outside staring at this thing and I'm trying to find a video that's related to it, I don't want to be entertained at that point. I just want to
Yeah.
get this thing fixed, you know. So it's kind of a different thing. I
Yeah.
mean, whenever I'm watching a video like that, I'm using my finger and scrolling past all that anyways. You know, so
Right.
I figure may as well
True.
just leave it out for this, you know, for this thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Do you? Yeah, and it's interesting. Like, I think on a separate note, it depends on yeah, like you're saying, it depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to be entertaining, it's good to do all the, you know, the fast cuts and the little sneak peeks at the beginning and all this crazy stuff.
yeah,
But yeah, when you're doing like instructional stuff, it's like get to the point. You know, if you're like
exactly.
really trying to help people out with their cars.
Yeah.
I imagine people that are fixing their cars are like they're like angry at this point because they're having to fix their own car. Something bad happened
Yeah.
and they're Googling it. You know.
Or a lot of times what happens too is it's kind of weird because you'll have people that will have their car that was just repaired at another shop, and I'll talk about,
Mm,
like, I have some videos they'll talk about something that was misdiagnosed
yeah.
or something, and I'm not really doing this to, you know, to rat out other shops and stuff like that,
Right.
but it'll end up being kind of that way, and then they'll write a
Yeah.
comment saying that, you know, this is exactly what happened to me and I paid this much money for all this stuff, and I'm like,
Right.
I don't really want to get involved in that so much. I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble necessarily. I'm just, you know, saying what I find, you know. So
That's hilarious.
yeah, yeah, it
So
gets
you
it
get
gets weird sometimes. It gets really
wow.
weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had one
Well,
guy that
yeah.
said I was made a video about something that looks like a rear main seal leak on your car that ends up not
Yeah.
being a rear main seal leak. It's very common. And one guy said that he sold his car because the dealer quoted like $3,000 to fix a rear main seal on a car. And after he's seen that video, he noticed that someone else purchased the car from him and replaced that. You know, he's sure of it or whatever the case.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
some weird situation like that where I was just like, oh, you know,
Yeah, right.
uh,
Your video probably answered something for him and made him think like, oh, it's such an easy fix.
yeah. Yeah.
and they were trying to charge me $3,000 for it.
Yeah, and sometimes it's very hard to tell, and especially dealers and
Right.
shops are going through employees very fast, and you
Yeah.
know, they're not as simple as they used to be. But
Right.
yeah,
Right.
talking about car repair too much here.
No, that's that. I mean, we're just hanging out.
Yeah.
I mean, really, the only real way that we're gonna tie this to wood carving to to my demographic
Yeah, let's
here
tie it to
is it's gonna be the fact that when dad, so our dad built a wood shop in his basement in our kind of like cul-de-sac in our neighborhood.
Yeah,
Like
it was awesome.
we lived. Yeah, he did a great job. I remember I was like 8 or 9 or
Yeah,
something, or younger, 7 or 8 before we moved.
yeah,
But there were all these, he had like the full dust collection everywhere, and
yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was just a sweet space.
He made flip up tables for all the different stations for all the different things, and it was laid out really nice.
So cool.
Yeah,
that's so cool. Yeah, I don't remember that, but you would be down there sometimes working on stuff every once in a while, and you're good at making things with your hands, and then I would want to go down there and make stuff. And I don't know what I was, but and I would just wreck stuff. Basically, I'd just go down there and make try to wreck stuff.
There's a 10-year age difference, just so everybody knows. So
yeah,
when I was a teenager, you were pretty young,
Right.
So
yeah. So I would go down there and I would mess stuff up. But I remember you had this kind of scroll saw that was always in that room, and there was a drawer in the scroll saw full of like tools, like really nice shiny tools, and I always just remember opening that up and looking in there and being like, "Hey Kenny, can I use this?" And you'd be like, "No." I'd be like, "Kenny, can I use this?" And then you'd say, "Yeah, you could use that." So then I'd take the thing that you told me I could use and I'd be playing with it. And those first few tools that you let me play around with were wood carving tools.
Yeah.
And you gave me like this set of wood carving tools. It was like a cheap set, but either way, I was playing with it. I was carving stuff.
Yeah.
I was sharpening it. And then later when I started carving, that same toolbox was still in our dad's wood shop. And I remember asking if I could buy this thing off of you years ago. This was the tool that I used to the main one, because you had one really nice gouge, the Swiss made number 7.
That's funny.
And I can pick it out from all these hundreds of tools because I still remember looking at it and going like, "Oh man, that thing is so cool."
That's funny.
One day I'm gonna have a tool like that, And then your Mora knife, you had a Mora knife, that you were playing with.
That's so funny. Yeah.
And
I actually haven't even thought about that for a long time, but as soon as you pull up that tool, I'm like, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but so it's like so much of how our lives are laid out are just therefore, I mean, it's just like victims of circumstance.
Think about what you did. I mean, Dad's hobby has always been woodworking.
Yeah.
Like that's
when
I was a kid, and you were even younger. I was pretty young at the time. And he was making this Thompson wooden grandfather clock, right?
Yeah.
He found this plan for it in a magazine or something, or in a book. I'm not sure where he found this. This was a little bit, internet wasn't really much of a thing back then. But he found this this directions how to make a grandfather clock using all wood and a weight, basically, for the pendulum. So he's in the basement building this thing after work. I mean, he does what I do. I don't know how he had the energy, honestly, after doing what I do all day, going home and doing this, going into the basement, using a little scroll saw and bandsaw and cutting all these teeth for all these gears and making doing all the stuff and graphite coating things and then setting up this whole gearbox in the basement. And I remember it being done and hearing this thing ticking and it working amazing. And then every I don't know, it seemed like few hours or few days, I was, I can't remember very clearly, it would seize up because one part in all of these gears would be just slightly out of tolerance. And then he would mark every gear, go in there, file it. It was insane. It was like,
it's crazy.
It was nuts. Like, it didn't even seem like something that, I've never, doesn't seem like something someone would be doing in their basement.
Yeah, 100% wood and clock.
Yeah, everything was wood.
Crazy.
It was nuts.
Just crazy.
Yeah, it was the coolest thing. He still has it in he still has it somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was frustrated because he Dad, he expects he wants things to turn out really, really, really good, and he pushes himself super hard to make things amazing. And that's that's probably where you get a lot of your art stuff from too. Is just his mindset, and he is relentless. He will keep going and going until he's satisfied with it. And like
I'm nowhere near. And the reality is, like, I'm glad I have a little bit of that, but I don't. I mean, obviously, I don't have anywhere near.
I'm the same way
But
with cars. I'm the same way with cars. Like I'm pretty sure I will never have the understanding that he does of this stuff. But
right.
We all have strengths and weaknesses and stuff like that. But as far as he just he has such an amazing understanding of how this stuff works. He's
right.
We're super lucky to have him as a
True.
Yeah.
I mean, I just remember like meeting other families, and then they're talking about their dads and what they would do, and oh yeah, our dad redid our basement or whatever, and then come to find out he hired somebody to redo their basement.
Oh yeah, that's what they meant.
I remember just being like so impressed when I heard that their dad redid their basement. I was like, that's awesome. Was like ours. Wow. I was like, that is so cool, man. That's something my dad would do. And then eventually I'd be telling someone else about it, and they'd be like,
no, they hired.
I didn't do it myself. I was like, oh. And I just remember feeling this like uncomfortable feeling, like he didn't do it himself.
Yeah. Up until a few years ago, I don't remember a moment of my childhood when Dad hired somebody.
Period. Yeah, no, me either. You're so right.
It's so funny. He draws the line. I finally figured it out. As someone that I'm almost 40 years old, he draws the line with septic tanks, which that's good, right?
You don't want to stick your foot in.
I draw the line way before that, I think.
Yeah.
And maybe the roof.
Right.
That's it.
Right. And even then,
we'll go up there.
He was up there fixing trim and crap at the very highest peak of our house, which is 2 stories up, complete with a finished basement.
Yeah.
That's also dug out. So he had 3 stories to fall from this peak.
It's not out of the question. He'll do it. I mean, he fixed the septic tank too when the pump failed. I mean, but he doesn't like it. That's about the only time you'll hear him complaining about it.
Right. True.
But other than that, anything. It doesn't matter what it is,
Yep.
And he told me that too, and that was probably one of the things that kind of pushed me to wanting to fix cars. He's like, if you can fix a car, it kind of has you can almost fix anything because it has all the systems. It has climate control and does heating and cooling, and all the systems are the same systems in your house. Obviously they're different, but they're the same concepts. So the AC in a car is the same concept as the AC at your house. It all works the same way basically. And a lot of the things cross over, and as far as electrical and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's something that it's like the more you learn, it's like I remember hearing that somewhere, that people who are people often think that like which there is truth to this idea of like your brain only can remember so much. Right. But when you expand your understanding of a topic, the more like depth you give that understanding, the more like you really understand what's going on beneath the surface. Like the more likely you are to retain that knowledge. So it's actually like the more you learn about it, the more important it becomes to your brain. You teach your brain.
Exactly. I've always had the worst memory, and I heard the guy saying basically exactly what you're saying. He was saying that your brain is continuously trying to take information that it doesn't deem relevant and put it, throw it out. So you have to add relevance to something you're trying to remember. So by understanding the functions of something, it adds relevance in your head, and then it sticks. But if there's but if you're just trying to remember something for the sake of remembering, it's very difficult for some people like me. I can't just you can't just tell me something, remember this, and unless I play some kind of weird mental game with it or make it into a song or try to associate it with something, it's not going to stick. I think that's also
like, why is it
don't do as well in school.
Why? Because a lot of times they don't teach you like why you're learning the things that you're learning. Like, why is it important? Like, what's the purpose of it?
Exactly.
Like, why? Like, to show me where I'll be using algebra.
Honestly, if you could take all of that, you could take all that information and like you said, like explain a real world purpose for this. I imagine the comprehension, the memory would be way better.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And you know what? the reality is algebra is useful. Like you can use it in building things, finding the hypotenuse of a triangle. I mean, all these things come into play when you're building like a structure,
Yeah.
Geometry. That's, I guess, less algebra, but
Yeah, I was gonna
well, I
say.
guess it is a little bit of both.
Yeah,
I mean, a little bit of both.
maybe. Yeah, you could
But
use it.
yeah, formula.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point is that smart people know stuff because it's important to them, man.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know.
that's probably it. That's probably the point, I think.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what are you doing over there? What kind
Well,
of
right now I'm
project
just
are you?
talking to I'm talking to you.
No,
But I'm working on
boring. No.
I just finished up working on a bunch of like little whittling things.
Mm.
Um, so not a bunch, a couple of new whittles that I'm gonna put out here at the end of the week. So there's a little wizard, not wizard. He's a gnome, just like a simple gnome
Oh, that's
kind of thing.
cool. Yeah, I like that.
The, yeah, thanks, man.
That's
I
really
think he's kind
cool.
of cool. Hopefully, people have been asking about like a more complicated version of the really simple one that I did
Yeah.
before, and that's the simple one. But
Ah.
it's like 15-minute.
Yeah, yeah. See,
And
that's
then
that's not even simple enough for me. I honestly, if I was to start to really invest some time into wood carving, I think I would
yeah,
probably do I mean, I would 100% start with whittling, little projects like that, and just
yeah.
try to do that. That sounds really fun to me. You know?
This isn't too complicated for you. You could do this.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
You could totally do that. Yeah,
I wouldn't look
yeah.
like that, but it'd be something.
Yeah, no, I mean you could definitely get close to that
Yeah.
and do that. You could definitely do that. And then this is a little bit more complicated. It was supposed to be really
Oh, wow,
simple,
that is
but
cool. That is really
the
cool.
paint job got complicated, and so there's going to be a lot of editing to do in this one.
Wow,
But
looks
it's a
excellent. You know, my
goldfish.
yeah, that looks awesome. Looks very very realistic from here.
Oh no,
Yeah.
it's not. It's just a whittle. You know, I mean, you can see all the planes if you get up close to it, like all the little whittle marks on it.
That's the
And
problem. My camera is just slightly blurry enough where it
yeah,
looks 100% real. Like that could be a real fish.
yeah.
You know? Like that.
Well,
That
the folks
you could be
when this
holding a
is
goldfish.
uploaded, they'll see, right?
Like wow, Alec, it's a cool fish. It's a real fish. Yeah, because it's just ever so blurry, so it looks very. I mean, the coloring is absolutely perfect, and you know.
The paint job helps. It helps to have little watercolors on the thing. I hate to say it. My wife Annalise was the one to encourage me to paint it. I
Yeah,
didn't really. I was
that's
kind of sick of this one, but by the
you
end
don't
of
like
it,
painting as much. You're not into it.
no, painting is something that I'll always do just to kind of make people happy, and
Yeah,
I don't know,
I
because
honestly
people
don't
like to
like
paint.
painting either.
If they want to paint, then I'll paint, but I don't really. It's not my favorite part. Put it that way.
Yeah.
I don't like. I'm not like eager to do the
I
painting
don't
part.
have a good eye for color. My wife is actually somehow she barely has, you know, she doesn't have very much experience with painting. She's only
Yeah,
painted what I've seen a few paintings ever, and they're incredible. Like she has such a good
unreal.
eye for color. It's unbelievable. And
Yeah,
it doesn't even make sense. It's all I don't understand it. But
that's crazy.
whenever I try to get whenever I try to do something with paint, let's say I draw something out and I'm gonna paint it afterwards, I will just destroy my painting or
Yeah,
or I'll destroy my sketch. You know, it'll just be
right,
you won't be able to tell what's what. I don't know why.
right.
I'm just not good at color. You know.
But let's talk about that. It's funny. You another aspect of kind of like tying in what Dad did with like woodworking, making furniture and guitars and crazy making a clock and all this stuff. You were like an artist of drawing. You like to draw,
I like to
and you
sketch.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you weren't just like, but you weren't just like the occasional sketcher. Like when you were a teenager, you really enjoyed it. You were
Yeah.
like sketching. You had the nice
Yeah.
pencils, and you did a really good job. You could just freehand and had a really good understanding of like forms and how to get the forms. Like you could look at your hand and draw your hand.
Yeah. I
And
like sketching a lot. Like that was really fun for me, and it was kind of something where I had all this free time at school, not paying attention, you know, so
right, yeah,
I could just doodle, you know,
yeah,
and
yeah.
enjoyed it.
But I still maintain when people have asked me like if it's inherited, and I was like, I don't know if it's fully inherited because I think my brother probably got more of like a natural art instinct than I did, for sure, For sure you did,
Well,
because
that's
even
depressing.
now, like,
That's true. That's depressing.
we,
That's
seriously, it.
that's probably the
Well,
meanest
so
thing you
be
could have said to me. Thanks, man.
so be it. But the funny thing is when you draw stuff, like for instance, we drew a mock up for my kitchen when I bought my house to rearrange stuff, to figure out where things would go, and you drew up I drew up my version, and I was kind of proud of it, and I was looking at it, and I was like, these are the cabinets, and then you drew your version, and the comparison, like the side by side, it looked like a 14-year-old drew mine, and then it looked like a draftsman or something drew you. Like your lines were all straight, freehand, and everything was symmetrical, and your perspective was good, and so there's just like a natural artistic ability to see shapes, and that definitely it's definitely there. So it's cool that it's in our family from our mom too. I mean,
Yeah.
think about mom growing up, mom was always very
Oh
artistic,
yeah.
and
She did
has
floral
tapped into that.
arrangements and
Yeah.
sewing. She could do anything. Like you know,
Yep.
she was super artistic, and now she's doing painting and pottery, and yeah,
Yeah,
always
more
always
on that
artistic.
side. Yeah, right. And she made the cup, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yep. Yeah, that is,
coffee and carving show mug.
we do. We are lucky. I never
It's true.
really made it into anything because I got into the cars, and I feel like my artistic kind of release the what I would the thing that I do that kind of gets that I get my fill of artsy things during the day would be like
Yeah.
fabrication work on vehicles, which I
Yeah.
don't do much of. I do repair at the shop, but I have my own project car that I modify, and I'm like a friend's car.
Yeah.
I built a roll cage for it, and I bend up tubing and think about weld things and cut all these angles and do all this stuff, and it feels kind of like an artsy thing. It doesn't feel like car repair when you're doing this stuff.
Right.
So because you draw out a
Yeah.
design and you try to come up with something, and making custom things and brackets and stuff for track cars. It feels more artsy than it does car repair for some reason.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Like,
Well, there's a creative part to it. It's like
yeah,
engineering and artsy stuff combined, right?
yeah, because you have to think of a design, an overall design of how you want it to look and function, and you know come
Yeah.
up with it and create something. So
No, I see more of that in your future too, like fabricating things and making race car parts and assembling, and
yeah,
roll cages, and I think that's probably gonna make up a big part of your think about as you slow down as you get older.
yeah.
Do you see that being a bigger part of your life than it is now?
I don't know. I kind of hope so. I do really enjoy it. I do really enjoy it. For the most part. I don't know if I was. Let's say I did that all day, and I wasn't doing the engine work and the repair that I do frequently right now. Maybe I would start to get sick of that, and then I would. I don't really
Yeah.
know. But
Right.
but I do, as of right now. I'm the happiest as far when I'm doing something like that, and I have some project going, and I'm making a weird bracket for something. Like I put the engine in my Audi out of it's an old Audi Coupe Quattro from 1990, and I put an engine out of a newer model in it, and
Right.
wasn't designed for that engine base, so I had to make custom motor mount brackets and a lot of weird stuff to make it all work. And it was a blast thinking of how I was going to do it, and it's really fun. Enjoyed it.
The problem solving
Yeah,
that
yeah,
goes into it.
exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's
There's
funny
so
because
much.
I make these cars, and I do like driving and track days and doing that kind of stuff. I really do enjoy it, but
Yeah.
I think I probably I like making it more than more than I do actually driving it afterwards.
Hmm.
I think I have more enjoyment out of just creating the thing, creating the car,
Yeah.
coming up with the stuff. Yeah,
Right.
it's funny.
Right. That's fun.
Because I'm
I mean,
sure it's
yeah,
like a
that's the
piece of
ultimate.
art for you. I
Hmm.
mean, you enjoy making art. When you're done, you have a piece of art in your hand. It's cool,
Yeah.
but move on to the next.
Yeah. Yeah. The problem solving part is always like the hard part that I don't like, where it's like, this isn't working. How am I going to fix this?
Mm,
That's the hard part. That happens like maybe 30, like maybe between 30 and 70% of the way through carving. Sometimes it's clear sailing for something that we've done a million times, right? But
yeah,
with carving, there's usually a point where it's like halfway through, I'm not having fun anymore. I don't know if this is going to turn out. And it's because I haven't done it, or I'm just not feeling confident that day.
yeah,
I feel like, and that part sucks, but moving past that and getting into the phase of like, oh wait, I can see what this is becoming. That's the most fun.
Yeah, when you
Right?
start to see it turn into something.
Yeah. I think people call it the ugly phase.
Yeah.
Is there an ugly phase when you're building projects or building a race car?
Yeah. The whole thing is ugly. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, of course. Yeah, of course. There's things always come up, and there's always an unexpected twist. Where you think this is going to work perfect, and you didn't account for, some hose that needs to be there or something. There's always something that you weren't expecting that pops up, and you have to come up with a
Yeah.
creative solution, and that would probably be
Right.
the same phase, but
Right.
and it's cool too, because when you're making these parts, you don't have a team of people. You don't have a team of people, helping design this on a computer and doing
Right.
stress tests
Right.
and stuff like that. So you're just
Right.
kind of looking at it and thinking, oh, this is probably up for it. Oh, this engine mount
Right.
bracket
Yeah.
is probably up for holding my engine into my chassis. Like it's a pretty
Yeah.
extreme. It's a pretty extreme thing.
Right.
So you usually, if you're not sure, you go overkill. Which is how they
Right.
used to build cars anyways, before they could do 3D rendering. That's why old cars are built like tanks, because they didn't know. Now they can do
Yeah.
these, simulations and all these, things, and they think they have it so under control they can simulate weather conditions and over time and stuff like that, so they can make everything the least amount of materials necessary out of the cheapest, weakest thing that they think will withstand that application.
Right.
Whereas, long time ago they didn't know, so they made things serious.
Yeah.
That's kind of how you have
Is
to
that
do
why
things.
is that why cars were so much heavier?
Oh yeah, well, what's funny is, cars weren't heavier.
Really?
Yeah, old cars for the most part were lighter. It sounds insane.
Wow.
Yeah,
It does.
it sounds insane, but like if you look at any modern, let's say something that's similar in size, an Audi A6 or a 5 Series or something like that. This stuff I work on, I'm familiar with, and you compare that to something that was similar in size from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. I guarantee the new one's going to be at 500 pounds more. And it's
Wow.
all alloys, and it's torsionally, obviously on paper it's faster, it's more efficient, everything about it on paper is better, but there's so much more of everything. There's so much more
Huh.
plastic, there's more of everything, and it's so
Hmm.
much that it makes up the difference and more, for the weight. It's pretty crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
So everything that's pared down is then, weight wise, is then replaced with an additional part to make something to combat another problem or
Yeah.
to make something do something it never used to do.
There's so much more. These cars are nuts now. I mean, they're systems that were never there and the cars didn't need, and are there to they're a car now. A lot of these cars have 3, 4 radiators. The cars used to have
Hmm.
one radiator.
Hmm.
And they'll have little radiators on the sides. They'll have a separate cooling system for their turbochargers, a separate cooling system for a supercharger, and they'll have the even everything interior wise. There's airbags everywhere. There's climate controlled doors and valves and wiring harnesses and bundles of wire this fat running through the whole car. There's just so much more, and a lot of it's not necessary, but we've come to expect it now, and you can't take it away. Once I have my Apple CarPlay, and then I have that for years, and it's so nice and convenient to link up to my phone and things like that. You're not going to go backwards. You're
Right.
not going to get rid of that.
Right.
So it has to be more and more and more. And they never even
Yep.
figure out the problems before they move on to the next thing. That's what's funny about the whole thing. It's these, I work on a lot of like Mini Coopers, and the Mini Coopers always had, let's say early 2000s, 2005, for instance, the thermostat housings, water pumps, they all have the same problems. They would fail all the time. I'd see them all the time with the same problems. And then they completely changed drivetrain, chassis, everything, redesigned everything, but they still have the exact same problems. And it's funny, they still have water pumps, the plastic impellers, they're leaking, the thermostat housing is leaking the same way. The components are not the same. And they just don't.
Right.
They don't really learn a lesson as fast. They're not really focused on learning lessons as fast as moving on to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. That's the priority, And people a lot of times think that they buy a big expensive car, that they're getting more technology, they're getting more quality for their money. Because a lot of things are like that. If you buy a really expensive watch, you can say what's different about this watch. You can say the materials are higher quality, the polish, the whatever, the accuracy. A lot of things you can say are superior about this, and you can point to them and actually, for real, see what the difference is. Something like a car that costs twice as much as your average car, it's the same exact components that are on a cheaper vehicle. There's just more of it. So you're getting less reliability. You're just getting more. You're getting more plastic stuff that's going to break. And
yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, you don't really see that on the features list of a car when you buy it, do you?
No.
The titanium alloy, rear.
Yeah.
I don't know what
I don't know
any of these things that say.
No. They make it sound so great, but you're getting more plastic crap that's gonna break.
Or the same stuff. Yeah, right.
Yeah. But people are into it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I don't know. I guess I enjoy the challenge of the whole thing. Cars changing all the time.
Yeah.
The challenge of trying to fix these things. And yeah. This is drawing me into it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about that's the thing about a job, is it's only captivating to the extent that you feel like you're not fully you don't understand it, right? Because like once you do something for so long, like I could just knock out wood spirits or like really simple faces all day and make a lot more money than I make right now, right? Like way more money. I mean, there are artists that all they do is they produce volume. The commercial or not commercial artist, but
you're pumping them out.
Yeah, and then they tour the art show circuit and they make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
Yeah,
because you have plenty of inventory. It looks good because you know how to do it.
Yep.
And while I'll do some carvings, to make inventory that I enjoy doing, I know how to do. It's not like you can't get good at something and continue doing it. It's just that when you just keep reproducing the same thing over and over again, it can get old. So I imagine with you, the stuff that's relevant is or like interesting is the stuff that's like, what the heck is this? Like,
I like that. That's exactly right. A new model comes out with some problem I've never seen before. I think it's fun. If I was doing brake jobs all day long, I would lose my mind, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
I would lose my mind. I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yep. Right. That would suck. Those are the easy money jobs, right? But they're it's quick.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yep. Exactly. You have to do some of those to make, trying to make a living, and of course you want to be successful and make money and stuff like that. But, it's also good to stimulate your brain and grow, become, learn more, and you have to, because the field is moving. Things are moving. There's going to be electric cars. That looks like it's probably going to happen to some degree. I don't know the scale of things and when that's going to happen, but you have to have a good understanding of, the technology. You can't just.
I've heard that there already are electric cars out.
Oh yeah.
I've heard that somewhere.
Yeah. There's a few of them.
Yeah. It's crazy how fast that blew up.
Yeah, I know. It's
one thing I should say quick before you say anything about that is you didn't say this, but you're qualified to talk about this stuff. You are like the foreman of your shop. Obviously, we're not going to talk about the shop, but you kind of run the business, like the shop side of the business, and so you're qualified to talk about this stuff. We should have said that at the beginning, but you're not just some Joe Schmo break entire guy. Obviously, people know that from listening to you. But,
yeah.
Anyway, so you were saying about electric cars.
Yeah. I was just saying that. There's a lot of that's on its way too. A lot of the companies, Volkswagen, for instance, they pretty much said that the engine they have in production right now, which is a derivative of the engine that's in my car I'm driving right here. This is a 2012 Volkswagen GTI. It's just a little 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo. That derivative of that engine is the.
What's the license plate number on that?
Yeah.
Out of curiosity.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You won't remember. Right? I'm sorry. This is the last engine that they're planning on producing. Basically, this is it. This is it. They said that this is the last engine they're going to actually be producing, versions of this 2-liter, which is crazy.
Why?
I don't know if they were going to retract that, but they're planning on going electric, and they all have these goals of going, electric.
Wow.
For right now, hybrid vehicles make a lot more sense, even though I don't like the idea of a hybrid. I don't like the idea of just complicating a car. It's basically, the best or worst of both worlds. You have a full gasoline powered car and a full electric car. You have both systems in one, which obviously hybrid, but it just makes more complication. Just adds to the madness of the whole thing. But it makes the most sense because our infrastructure is not really set up yet for electric cars. Some people can get away with it depending on their work. They work close to home. Their work has chargers or whatever the case. But saying even on a larger scale, our grid is not really geared up for that yet. From what I understand, talking to people that are in the industry of I had a friend that worked for DTE, and he was telling me that it's already pretty much where I live, it's already pretty much maxed out as far as what it can handle. If people were all to have electric cars charging in the garage overnight, it wouldn't. You need a lot of infrastructure changes. A lot of things would have to be.
Yeah. Different. No, Detroit Edison or whatever electricity, they're putting out notes to people not to use AC in the summertime.
Yeah.
Past a certain amount of AC.
I know.
So there's obviously something up there.
Yeah, and these electric cars they draw a lot. They draw a lot of power to charge these things up. It's not, people don't really. It's weird because there's all these weird government programs and incentives and stuff like that to push to electric cars, but you can't actually, people couldn't actually do it yet. It wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So it's kind of strange. But whatever the case.
It is. And probably one day you'll be working on more and more of them. I'm sure you already work on hybrid cars, right?
Yeah.
Do those come in the shop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah. I don't work on a ton of them, but I do from time to time. They come in.
Because as time progresses, those are going to fall out of warranty, and you're going to be working on those, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And a technician that I used to work with here at the shop, he just moved to work for Tesla, and he's a tech over there now. And yeah, it's pretty fun. We still keep in contact. He's a really great guy. And
have you been to his shop?
No, I haven't been over there. He stopped by the shop with his car. He just got his personal car. He got a Model 3 for himself, and it's actually really cool. Yeah, a really cool car. And he was showing me how it all works as far as with the software and everything. And it's incredible what they can do on those. It's pretty nutty. It's going to be a little different, but simple, much more simple in a lot of ways too.
That's good.
Yeah,
actually, right?
Yeah,
and it's kind of surprising. Yeah, that's. I was talking to a guy who works for a company that supplies to Tesla and or battery powered cars, and he was saying that the technology it is pretty simple. Like the way it's designed, everything is fairly straightforward. Like a program tells the motor what to do, and then it powers the wheels. It's like
there's exactly. It's
kind of neat.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's like a giant RC car.
Yeah. Kind of. The actual drive unit and battery and all that stuff it doesn't seem like there's that much to it. A lot of the complication comes into play because you have to have air conditioning, you have to have heat, you have to have all these supporting systems. And
and heat from electricity it's crazy.
Yeah, but they're doing it smarter now. They're actually pulling they're pulling some of the heat out of the AC. AC system works. They're kind of inverting it and using some of that energy for heating. So the people that are designing this stuff are incredibly smart. It's really pretty cool.
So the AC is the thing making the heat as well. It just reverses what the exhaust kind of.
Well, yeah, they're using the condenser that actually is usual. It's used. The air cools the condenser to for in a standard AC system, and you're not using that. You're using the gas side of that, as to run through the evaporator that makes the cool air. Well, on this, you're actually using the heat generated from the air moving past the condenser. So it's using it opposite, kind of. It's using the wasted energy. Right. Basically, it's and they also have supplemental other heating systems and stuff like that. They have but that's just one thing that they're doing that's kind of giving them a little bit more heat. And then a lot of the things too, it's more efficient in so many ways that the braking, it uses regenerative braking where it actually The motor is what drags down the wheels when you slow down.
Yeah.
So your brake pads, your
Oh.
brakes anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. He's
Okay.
replaced brake
People
pumps.
have misexplained this to me. I was talking to a guy. He like changes oil and stuff. He's not like a tech, but
Yeah.
he was telling me that he thinks there's some sort of like a friction thing where they're taking the heat from the brakes and I'm like, that doesn't sound.
No, they're just
How are they
using
doing
the
that?
motor. They're just using the motor as a generator.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
so they're using the motor as a
Yeah.
generator, and they're feeding it, power.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
stalling it. So actually, when you get
That's
off the
cool.
gas, you can change the amount of regen that you want. But when you're driving one and you're accelerating and you're coming up to a red light, you pretty much get your foot off the accelerator. And if you have your regen set high, you don't even touch the brake pedal. It just stops.
Oh,
It just
really? It'll just slow down.
yeah, yeah. And you're not, so your brake pads are they're not being used. It's using.
So that's a little isn't that a little herky jerky?
No,
On the road.
honestly,
It doesn't feel like you're
no. It seems like it would,
flying
but it's
around.
so nice, so
It's pretty
smooth.
good.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Hmm.
They did
Hmm.
such a good job. I'm just, from a Tesla, them saying that's very, very smooth, very nice. I actually like the regen. I can see getting used to that. And,
Yeah.
you're just pushing on the gas pedal. You barely even touch the brakes anymore. He's done one brake job since he's been there the last 2 years or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, it's pretty crazy.
That is.
But a lot of weird stuff. Things are changing.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's cool to see in a way, but it's also I do think about you and Dad now is retired. He still works on cars, but
Yeah,
it's a change. It's a new environment for sure.
yeah. Well, I'm okay with things changing, doing things different. If that's what needs,
right,
and that's what I'll do. I'll adapt. Yeah.
Yep. You will.
Yeah. But it's something. So.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for hanging out and exploring the car side of wood carving.
I'm sorry.
You know what's crazy is no. I mean, what am I? Do I expect you to try to talk about wood carving or something? I don't know.
Well, I'm expecting you to talk about cars stuff. So it's like
I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm not good at it. I don't know anything about it, but I was gonna say, what's funny is the biggest. If you look up like the biggest wood carving YouTubers, I'm pretty sure they're those guys out of Asia who do carvings of cars, like modern cars. Like a new Toyota will come out, and they'll make a mock model of it out of wood, just hand carved and power carved. And so there you go. Two worlds collide.
That's it. Technology and carving.
Yeah. Yep. So anyway, man, do you have any? Do you want us? You don't want to plug anything? You're not trying to.
I would, but I'm not gonna. No.
Yeah. No worries.
Yeah,
I
put all this effort into staying, anonymous as far as
anonymous. Might as well keep
to
it
some degree, whatever the case. But
right.
But yeah, thanks for having me on.
We'll
Man.
find you anyway. Yeah, just search up his name. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I don't do that.
Honestly, my videos are so boring. No one's gonna want to watch it anyway, as far as that goes.
Yeah, I mean, but to be fair, it's not for that. It's not like our viewers are. The viewers are they're gonna run into a problem with if they have a European car they're trying to fix up. They're gonna find you anyway.
I incorporate no humor, nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but whatever.
Last question: do you see yourself going that way, like making content for both purposes in the future, like goofy, fun stuff that's entertaining and?
I think so. Sometimes I think that it would be fun to kind of have one where I'm just kind of, show more the silly side of the auto repair, and just, some of the funny things that happen around the shop and, being a little bit more of a personality, whatever that is, as far as than what I'm doing, just strictly, educational. But we'll see. It could do anything.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying it though. So
that's cool. All right, well, folks, don't check him out, and but you can check me out. And no, I'm just kidding. No, but support the show. You can buy a coffee, and the best way to do that is to buy a coffee. And there's a link in the description below to do that. And I always forget to say that, but we have no coffee sponsors this week. I never read the coffee sponsor link, but because there are none lately. But so if you want to support the show, we appreciate it. Keep it going so we can have pleasant interviews with people like Kenny and wood carvers and lots of other fun carvers queued up for the month. But if you're if you're trying to support the show, then follow that link. And in addition to that, check out the online carving school. So there's my plug. The online carving school is also linked in the description below. So you can click that and learn more about carving realistic faces and stuff. So usually I make Kenny do that when he FaceTimes me in the middle of a video.
Yeah.
Remember when I used to make, all right, Kenny, do the ad.
Yeah, I know that was a lot of pressure, you know. I don't even do my own. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's the ad for this video. But oh man, thanks, dude. I appreciate it. It's always good chatting, and I mean, it's not like we wouldn't be talking on FaceTime.
Yeah,
anyway,
honestly,
so
we'd be talking anyway. So
might as well make a show out of it.
That's it. Yeah, well, I'll see you later, man.
All right,
I'll see you.
Talk
Bye,
to you. Thanks again for doing it.
Yep.